What is up, everybody? What is up, everybody? My name is JeffLightsyJr. here with the Black Boss channel and Victor Information. And we are here because I really do genuinely believe that Jackson State is about to pull off a signing day miracle. I have it on good intellect that Jackson State is about to pull off a signing day miracle. I'm going to talk about that and why I believe so after the bumper. Stay tuned. What's good people? My name is JeffLightsy Jr. here with the Black Boss channel and Victor Formation. Thank you guys for tuning in. Be sure to hit the thumbs up button, like, share, subscribe, and the notification bell because we upload every single day. Now, there's a lot going on. First of all, I want to say rest in peace to Kobe Bryant. I don't like to date my videos, but 2 years ago today, we lost a legend, one of my favorite athletes of all time, my favorite basketball player of all time, Kobe Bryant. So rest in peace to Kobe Bryant. I wanted to put that out there first. Now, after that, today, it's been a whole lot going on, and I'm here to tell you why I believe Jackson State is going to have a signing day miracle. Now, we know of the obvious players. There's the Harold Perkins story out there. A lot of folks thinks he's going to to Florida because he took his official visit to Florida. There's the Shamar Stewart thing out there. A lot of people still think Texas A&M is in the mix, Miami, all those people. Shout out to Lillian. Hey to you, Lillian. Shout out to Hezekiah. What's up, Hezekiah? And shout out to Karoom Hickman. Shout out to you guys and hit that thumbs up button. Now, you guys know I look at all your comments, whether it's on Twitter, Instagram, my DMs, the comments on the YouTube videos. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter, by the way. I look at all your comments and I take all of them into consideration. And speaking of Twitter, I was on Twitter yesterday. I noticed a tweet that was put out by the Jackson State football team. Now, you got to remember, when you're running these social media accounts and you're on social really heavy, you have to everything is under consideration. You have to, what's up, Shanita Crisis? Good morning to you. Good morning. You have to take everything into consideration. You don't just put something out there without there being some context. I saw this tweet put out by the Jackson State football team. I knew it meant something, but I didn't think anything of it until this morning, and I'm going to tell you why. So let's take a look at the tweet first, because you guys know this is how we do. We don't just speculate, we break stuff down. And so I looked at this tweet. This tweet was put out by the official JSU football team, and it's 4 pictures of Deion Sanders. Now, the first 2 pictures, let's take a look at them. The first 2 are him on the phone. These are the first 2, are him on the phone. You know, Prime was that dude. The second one is him on the sidelines being the head coach of Jackson State in his JSU gear, especially with that big block J hat. He has his block J hat on, by the way, because you know the J hat has taken on a life of its own on all over Twitter, especially. It has taken on a life of its own. You guys are the reason why there's an official J hat account, because people know when they see that J hat, there's a problem. So let's rewind this back. The first 2 pictures that they tweeted are him on the phone. The third picture is him with his Jackson State gear, and the fourth picture is him scoring a touchdown. The fourth picture is him scoring a touchdown. Now, I don't know if you guys are conspiracy theorists. I don't know if you guys are into, things like that. But I'm into conspiracy theories a little bit. I'm into deciphering puzzles a little bit. I'm into looking at the deeper meaning of certain things. I'm into all of that stuff. So, isn't it ironic that the Jackson State football official Twitter account tweets out 2 pictures of Coach Prime on the phone, him on the phone, a third picture of him with a block of J hat, and a fourth picture of him scoring a touchdown? Now, you guys are really, really smart. I know you're smart because you're watching this channel. So shout out to y'all. I know y'all smart. And so there is not a reason. And I look at all your comments too, by the way. So I know you guys give me a lot of insight, and then I go do my own research. So 2 pictures of him on the phone mean what? What could it mean? Let's just think about it. What could it mean? Well, it could mean he's working the phone lines because we're a few days away from National Signing Day. So it sounds like he's working the phone lines. a third picture of him with the J hat, because you guys have made the block Jackson State J hat a thing. You guys have made it to where it is literally a national phenomenon. It has its own Twitter account with hundreds of followers and hundreds of retweets and tweets and all kinds of stuff. You guys are mentioning it. It is brought on a life of its own. That's because of you all. And then the fourth picture of him scoring a touchdown, which means what they scored on whatever player, whatever thing that they were working towards, it was a success, because the ultimate sign of success in football is a touchdown. The way you score the most points in football is via a touchdown. So I took all of that and I saw that last night, but I didn't have any information. I was like, yo, something's about to happen. I just don't know what. Something is about to happen, because I am 100% transparent with you guys. I don't know everything. I know a little bit, and I have a little insight here and a little insight there, but I'm still fairly new to this HBCU space. I do not know everything. Like I still get put up on game by a lot of guys out here on YouTube, a lot of guys out here on the internet, but I can pick up on little nuances. So that happened last night. Be sure to hit the thumbs up button too, by the way, guys. So that happens last night. Hold on. Someone says, hint, hint, they follow they mom. Let me look at. So Lillian says, hint, hint, they follow Mama's Twitter account. Harold Perkins' Mama's let it slip 2 days before he decommitted. I did not see that. See, you guys put me up on game. I didn't see that, Lillian. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. Our coaches have been recruiting like crazy these last few days, especially Coach Pollock and Coach O. And they, in the football account, actually gave Coach Pollock a special shout out too, by the way. I noticed that as well. So, Shanita, you're absolutely right. Coach Pollock got a special shout out. They're not doing that. Once again, these people aren't dumb. They're not doing these things by accident. So I saw that, but once, like I told you, I was like, I didn't have any information. I didn't know what was what. So I was like, something's about to happen. I just didn't know what. So I wake up this morning. I saw this morning, Scotty, shout out to Offscript. Scotty was on live talking about how he talked to someone within the JSU program and they did bag another 5-star. So I wasn't surprised. But the elements of this 5-star that Scotty revealed was interesting. So let's go to Offscripts. Let's go. Yeah, Lillian, send me that picture. Go ahead and send me that picture. Let's go to Offscripts YouTube. Shout out to Offscript. Like I said, I pay attention to all these guys. And this was interesting. First of all, he let it be known that it was a wide receiver. Now, if you guys know, Jackson State has been recruiting wide receivers like crazy because they're going to this spread offense led by Brent Bartoloni. Someone says he was trolling. He might have been at the end as far as like the whole, birth certificate stuff. But no, this dude is smart. Like, this dude ain't just putting out false information. He ain't just going to do that and wreck his own credibility. There is some truth to this. Like I said, the Jackson State football team put out the tweet of Coach Prime working the phones. Then I wake up and see that Scotty's heard some information that there's possibly a guy coming in. Now, you guys are saying he was trolling. I thought it was real. Now, the stats looked a little funny, but I was like, yo, I think that another 5-star is on the way based solely upon this tweet that was put out there by the Jackson State football team. There was a 5-star information put out there by the Jackson State football team. I think that a signing day miracle is already is in the works. I think that a signing day miracle is literally in the works. I think that it's coming. I think that a big time player is on the way because of the information that is being divulged. So be sure to look signing day. Now, one of the things that we talked about on this channel was the Eric Gilbert angle. Remember, I played for you the clip of Coach Prime saying he spoke to Quavo. Quavo said he had a tight end from Georgia that was interested to come into Jackson State. And I came to the conclusion that I thought it was Eric Gilbert. Some of you now believe that it was Darnell Washington. Darnell Washington was a tight end at Georgia, big, strong, fast dude. They just won a national championship. And there was talks of him hitting the transfer portal. Now, I haven't found any information on that as of yet. I haven't found any information on that was, yeah. So someone says, okay, he said, I didn't watch it all the way through. I thought it was, so someone says it was Spencer James at the end. That's actually pretty funny. That's actually like hilarious because I watched it and I was like, yo, he might be onto something. That's actually quite hilarious, by the way. But Jackson State football tweeted, the official account tweeted this, and it's got me thinking. You got 4 pictures of Coach Prime. The first 2 of him working the phone. The third of him in that block J hat. And these guys pay attention to what you all are talking about on Twitter. And the fourth is him scoring a touchdown. That lets me know somebody now. Some folks think it's Darnell Washington. All of it is speculation. Some folks think it's Darnell Washington, the tight end out of Georgia. Some of you think that it is could potentially be Shamar Stewart, could potentially be Harold Perkins, could potentially be, a number of guys. I've seen Devon Campbell, a 5-star tackle out of Texas. Some of you think that it's Gentry, a 4 or 5-star safety out of New Orleans. So there's so many names, but I believe, like the Jackson State theme, I believe that this was not by accident. I mean, this is how, think about the cultural impact that you guys are making, because you have made the J hat famous, because you have made the J hat a national phenomenon. Look at what JSU football account, their whole football account even has the J hat as their AV. That is not by accident. That is because you guys have made this a thing. That is because you all have actually made it to where the J-Hap strikes fear in other fan bases' hearts. So I'm not saying I know who it is, but I definitely think a signing day miracle is on the way. Shanita says there are a few recruits on the campus this weekend. Yes, there are, because this is the last recruiting weekend, the last weekend for official visits, the last weekend for big-time players to come to campus. So, just signing day is February 2nd. Signing day is literally February 2nd. The next Wednesday, a week from today is National Signing Day. It is going to be a great, great day to be a JSU Tiger. That's all I got to say. It is going to be a great, great day. Now, also some news that came out about Jackson State. If you haven't checked out, shout out to Mo Carter. He's a journalist. He tagged me in this. Jackson State and the SWAC has set up some classic games that'll take place in Birmingham. It says UAPB, Jackson State, and Southern will play in future games at Legion Field. Mo goes on to say that the SWAC will host a series of football games at Birmingham's Legion Field each of the next 3 seasons. The Birmingham City Council recently approved and recommended by the mayor. It also includes an option to renew for a 2-year deal. The upcoming SWAC Classic football games in Birmingham are projected to feature the Jackson State Tigers, led by Coach of the Year Deion Sanders, versus University of Arkansas Pine Bluff and head coach Doc Campbell in 2022. So JSU will play Pine Bluff in 2022, followed by Jackson State versus Southern in 23 and 24. The SWAC isn't dumb. The SWAC is trying to capitalize on the marketability and the presence of Deion Sanders, of the presence of Jackson State. Jackson State going out there grabbing 4 and 5-star guys. You want to put them up front and center as many times as possible. That's not by accident. You want to show the world Travis Hunter. You want to show the world Kevin Coleman. You want to show the world these dudes. You want to broadcast and show off your biggest and brightest guys. And that is exactly why this is taking place. The city of Birmingham will provide incentives and kind of services to the SWAC to amount to exceed $200,000 in year 1 and $300,000 in year 2 and 3 of the agreement, which will take place at Legion Field Stadium. So why is this important? Because remember when I talked about TV deals, I've been on here talking about TV deals. I've been on here talking about money that the SWAC is going to make because of Deion Sanders, money that the SWAC has already made and what they're going to make moving forward because of Deion Sanders. Classics like this, where cities will pay you money to come play games in their stadiums, to come play games in their cities, to come play games at their places. This is going to continue. This is what happens when you recruit up. This is what happens when you show a national product. This is what happens when you do these kind of things. Because of what Coach Prime Deion Sanders is able to do in the recruiting world, and because of what he's able to do nationally, a state like Alabama, which is not, doesn't hope, like Pine Bluff is in Arkansas, Southern is in Louisiana, but a state like Alabama is trying to get a piece of that pie. A state like Alabama is trying to get a piece of that SWAC pie, trying to get a piece of that Deion Sanders pie, trying to get a piece of that Kevin Coleman or that Travis Hunter or that Shedeur Sanders pie. Like, that is what's going to take place. They will pay you money, even though it has nothing to do with their state. They will pay you money because they know the people of their state will come to the game and spend money at the businesses in that state and come and people will travel to their state. Surrounding states will travel to the SWAC Classic. You see how there's one common denominator in this SWAC Classic over the first 3 years. It's this guy with the big I Believe hat, Deion Sanders, Coach Prime, period. They're trying to capitalize and they're trying to make sure they get in on that SWAC pie, because that SWAC pie, it's real sweet and it's real good right here. It's real lucrative. They're willing to pay $200,000 in year one and $300,000 over the next 2 years. And that, my friends, is a discount. That, my friends, is a discount. I will tell you, them getting Jackson State for 3 straight years in a SWAC Classic game at $200,000, $500,000, and $800,000 total, under $1 million, get 3 games with Jackson State in it, and you're paying less than $1 million. That is a discount, because the city officials in Birmingham understand that they're going to make that $1 million in year one. They are going to make that $1 million in year one. So it says the SWAC, considered one of the most historically premier HBCU conferences in the country, currently ranks in the elite in the national terms of alumni played, SWAC subdivision. Yeah, so that's the article from Mo Carter. Let's see. Look. Oh, this is key right here. This is, shout out to Mo for putting this in there. When the SWAC plays in Birmingham, games are expected to generate significant revenue, as well as put the city in center stage in front of a crop of new visitors, fans, and national media. Visitors, fans, and national media. Come on now. Why else would visitors, fans, and national media? The SWAC Classic could have been made. They could have made the SWAC Classic 50 years ago. Orange Blossom Classic was created 50 years ago. Southern Heritage Classic was created a bunch of years ago. All of these other classics, the Florida Classic, the whatever Classic, all of them were created, Bayou Classic years ago. The SWAC Classic came along when a dude who was in the NFL Hall of Fame, who's in the College Football Hall of Fame, comes to one of the most prestigious schools in the SWAC and becomes Cody in his first fall season and wins the SWAC East and the SWAC Championship in his first fall season and goes to the Celebration Bowl. Because they're only paying less than $1 million, and they're going to get $1 million in revenue in year one. Deion Sanders, according to Jackson, the city council or the people who take in revenue, they said he brought in $30 million during the fall. And I think that was an understatement. They said he brought in $30 million during the fall, which was a record. And I think that was underbidding him. And he even said it. He said, yo, that sounds kind of cheap. You know what I'm saying? Like, that sounds kind of low. So, and it puts you on a national stage because all the cameras are going to flock to the SWAC Classic. All the ESPNs, the Fox Sports, the journalists, people like myself, we're going to be at the SWAC Classic. We're going to want to check it out. Birmingham ain't too far from where I'm at. You get what I'm saying? And you're going to get coverage in the city of Birmingham, in a place that has a lot of history that involves Black folks. You know what I'm saying? That's great. It says the city is ready to open its doors to thousands of SWAC fans who will be coming over the next few years, Wooden said. We plan to roll out the red carpet and show why Birmingham is a special place. So the SWAC Classic is going on. The SWAC Classic is going to take place, and this is going to be great. Because they could have, like Jamon, you're right. They could have featured Alabama A&M. JSU and Alabama A&M are playing in the Gulf Coast Challenge in Mobile on the 24th and the 20th. Yeah, like this is going to be big for Alabama. They could have put Alabama A&M or Alabama State in this SWAC Classic. They put JSU because JSU is going to bring in a national audience because Coach Prime is a rock star. He's a rock star head coach. And I bet in those next 2 years, when they have that 2-year option, you'll see Grambling in there next. You'll see Coach Hugh and the G-Men and all they're doing over there in Grambling, Louisiana. You'll see them in there next. And the SWAC Classic will feature Grambling versus somebody. Probably Grambling versus JSU or Grambling versus Alcorn or Grambling versus, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, that's going to take place. So I'm going to get out of here, guys. Thank you all for tuning in. I'm going to check some of your comments, and then I'm going to get out of here since they should have used Alabama schools against JSU and Southern. I mean, Stephen, that would make sense, but they're not doing that because those Alabama schools don't have Coach Prime as their head coach. They don't have Coach Prime rocking the house. They don't have Coach Prime doing the things that he's doing over those Alabama schools. And that's no slight to Connor Maynard. That's no slap to Coach Maynard. He won the spring championship for whatever it's worth. You know what I'm saying? He had a Quill Glass, one of the most prolific passers in the history of the SWAC. But, you know, some people feel like their time is over. Jackson State, FAMU, Grambling, their time is now. So someone says Birmingham is a shady place by taking food from Jackson, Mississippi and returning pennies to JSU. Well, no, the schools sign up for this. Cedric, I will say this. The schools sign up for this. And JSU, the reason, here's what they get out of it. So Birmingham, they get the national exposure, of course. JSU in their brains gets to expand their reach. Now, granted, it's not super far. It's not like they're going out to California to play a game. But going to Birmingham, that's a new demographic. That's new fans that might who may be closer to Alabama than they are Mississippi. And they might travel from Texas over to Alabama, or might travel, make sure I'm getting my geography right, from Oklahoma, you know, because maybe it's a 6-hour drive and not an 8-hour drive, or a 4-hour drive and not an 8-hour drive, you know, to get to Birmingham as opposed to Jackson, Mississippi. So that is how JSU looks at it, and they get paid on top of it. They're talking about, $200,000 the first year, $300,000 the second year, $300,000 the third year. That doesn't sound like a lot into a school like the University of Alabama or the University of Mississippi or schools like that. That might not be a lot. But for Jackson State, that's a whole lot of money. For a Southern, that's a whole lot of money. For a Pine Bluff, that is a whole lot of money that they would not have gotten otherwise. So that's the trade-off. And once Jackson State continues to win SWAC championships or continues to bring in top recruiting class or continues to get these top dudes to come to their school, then they can negotiate bigger deals. Okay. You know what I'm saying? We sold out the SWAC Classic 3 years in a row. Alabama, Birmingham, you're up. Where's the check? You got to cut a bigger check. And if it ain't Alabama, Texas, come on. If you want the SWAC Classic, cut a big check. A city of Mississippi, if you want the Alabama or the SWAC Classic, cut a big check. You get what I'm saying? Like, that's how you negotiate. You give them something. You know, when you sell a product, you do giveaways, you do something, you prove that the product is worth people buying it. You give them something, they get satisfied, and then they come and shop with you again. So JSU is hoping, you know what I'm saying, that they're throwing it out there for a relatively fair price, and then hoping that these states or these cities, Birmingham or whoever, comes and shops with them again, which they will, because those games are going to sell out. Come on. Are we surprised that these games aren't? Do we think, like, let me know in the chat. Let me know in the comments. Do you think these games aren't going to sell out? Do you think Coach Prime can't pull in max capacity at this stadium in Birmingham? I think he can. So that is why that's why you do it. That's why you do it. You continue to expand your product. You continue to grow your brand. You continue to get that national media attention that only, doing things like pulling in a Travis Hunter can do, that only playing in games in different cities outside of Jackson can do, whether that's Miami for the Orange Blossom Classic, Memphis for the Southern Heritage Classic, now Birmingham for the SWAC Classic. You get what I'm saying? Like this is smart on JSU's part. Yeah, coach is bringing the attention to all the HBC. Exactly, because in these games, Pine Bluff was mentioned in that article. When's the last time we talked about Pine Bluff? Not just on this channel, but in SWAC spaces or HBC spaces, period. When's the last time we talked about Pine Bluff? It's been a long time. So Southern Coach Dooley, it's good for them. It's good because if they go in there, they compete or possibly upset Jackson State. You think recruits going to start looking at Southern? Absolutely. Hey, recruits are going to consider going to Southern? Absolutely. So, we got to take all of that into account. It says revenue numbers will climb when JSU and Alabama A&M Golf Classic. They see how much attendance. Yeah, no, absolutely, Juwan, you're right. All of this stuff, like, this is why it's big. This is why, whether you love or hate Jackson State, whether you love or hate what Coach Prime is doing, you got to respect it. You got to respect it because this SWAC Classic, they just made that up. They just made that up to get Deion in a different game in a different city. Let's just be honest. They just made up the SWAC Classic. They just literally just created it. It was announced today. They just created it to get Coach Prime, Deion Sanders, and Jackson State in another game in another city outside of Jackson, Mississippi. They're pulling in. We talked about the attendance at Jackson State. They put in 42,000 last year, a game, which set the FCS record. They're going to break that record this fall, which probably somewhere north of 48 to 50. I said 48 before Kevin Coleman and before signing day. I think it's going to be north of 50. So they're going to pull in 50,000 plus a game at Jackson, Mississippi. You don't think Alabama, Birmingham wants a piece of that? You don't think Orange Blossom Classic Miami wants a piece of that? You don't think Memphis Southern Heritage Classic wants a piece of that? Jackson, Mississippi is about to pull in 50,000 people a game. They're going to pull in north of 50,000 every game, not just homecoming, Alcorn, Southern, SWAC Championship. We're talking about every single home game, I believe. I really do. They're going to pull in north of 50,000 a game. So therefore, people want to get in on that. Other cities, other states, they want a piece of that. So, yeah, it's big picture thinking. Absolutely. Absolutely. Just sent you the big. Okay, appreciate that. So some people ain't too fond of it. Yeah, I mean, it's what it's looking like. Like I just named off three of them: the Orange Blossom, the Southern Heritage. Now we got the SWAC Classic. Because, you know what I'm saying? Because typically, like, think about this. Typically, Jackson State and Pine Bluff, like SWAC teams, when you play a SWAC school, you do a contract, whatever. It's like home and away. You go to Grambling 1 year, Grambling comes to you the next year. You go to Jackson State 1 year, Jackson State comes to you the next year. So that benefits the individual schools. That benefits, let's be honest, that benefits Jackson State when Hugh Jackson and Grambling or Coach McNair and Alcorn or whoever comes to Jackson, and then the vice versa. It doesn't benefit the SWAC, although as far as financially, I'm going to say financially. But when you create a classic, you create a classic. See, now the SWAC gets in on that check. Because I get it. We love college sports. We love the athletes. We love the coaches. But at the end of the day, it's a business. The SWAC, the president of the SWAC, I forgot his name. He's Dr. something. He's a very, very smart man. He understands every classic neutral site game that he gets Jackson State involved in, the SWAC as a conference gets a kickback. The SWAC as a conference gets a little percentage. The SWAC as a conference gets paid. And so it only makes sense that we do Jackson State in as many classics, as many neutral site games as possible, because they're going to eat when they go play at home. They're going to eat with that 50,000 people. You understand what 50,000 means. Like there's some team, Kari Thompson came on here and he said there's some teams at, there's SWAC schools in the SWAC that have stadiums that seat like 10,000. And so Jackson State has a 60,000 seat capacity. So that's 6 times the amount of some of these other schools. So Jackson State going to eat every time they play at home. But if the SWAC can get a piece of that, even if, because some of these stadiums can't hold 60,000 people what Jackson State draws. But even if it's 40,000 or 35 or 50 or, or it's 60. I don't know how big the stadium in Birmingham is. I think they play bowl games there, so I think it's bigger. They're going to want a piece of that, and they're going to get a piece of that. And that's why it's beneficial for all parties involved. And that's why they're going to continue to create classics, the SWAC Classic, the whatever classic, and put Jackson State in it, because the SWAC is going to want to get a piece of all of those coins, because it's all about coins at the end of the day. Sorry, not sorry. It's just the truth. It's about making money and making JSU a household name. JSU already a household name, but it's definitely about making that bread. 200,000 in Beham or 1 million in Jackson. Well, you got to remember that Jackson State, like I said, continue, like Jansen said, is continue to make them a household name, continue to expand their brand. That's what they get out of it. They get to expand their brand because people are going to watch them play no matter what. But the SWAC is going to want a piece of that bread. Just point blank, period. Not sure why JSU would play Southern outside of Jackson. That makes 5 times as much. Like I said, it's all about the SWAC is getting cut in on this. This is not by accident. The SWAC trying to get a piece of that. Like the SWAC wants, I hope I explained that pretty well, why the SWAC would want Jackson State in as many classics as possible. It says Coach Prime is starting to take some of the power away from the 2 big Mississippi SEC schools. You had, yeah, he went viral for that too, by the way, Tony. That dude went viral. He checked out a JSU game and he had the time of his life and he went viral. So, yeah, it is a whole lot of revenue, right? It's a whole lot of revenue. It says don't forget about another 20,000 or so outside the stadium. Woo! I got to get down to the vet, man. I got to get down to the vet because you guys are telling me there's 20,000 people outside the game. Like, is that what you're saying, James? There's 20,000 people. So there's 60 in the game and another 20 outside the game. I got to see that from my own eyes. I have to see that because that sounds unreal. I've been to a lot of football games, a lot of college football games, like a lot of football games. I've never seen 60 inside, 20 outside. I've never seen that before in my life. I never have. I want to know how Beham, which is not a tourist destination, benefits both schools. It doesn't. Well, like I said, it benefits the SWAC. It Southern or Pine Bluff, Stephen, this is what I'm saying. The SWAC is constructing this. The SWAC. This is, you got to think, it's not Jackson State constructing this, not Southern or Pine Bluff. This is the SWAC because they understand the star power of Jackson State. They understand the star power of Deion Sanders. They understand the star power of Travis Hunter, Kevin Coleman, Aubrey Miller, Shedeur Sanders, Shiloh Sanders, et cetera, et cetera. They understand that star power. And they don't get money when Jackson State plays at home. They don't get money when Southern plays at home. But if you have a classic and you have festivities leading up to the classic and you have a press conference at the classic and you have a parade for the classic, that is revenue that the city of Birmingham gets, and there is a kickback, there's a keyword kickback, that the SWAC as a conference gets. And Coach Prime gets to go out there, him and his team get to go out there and connect with the community, get to connect with the city of Birmingham, get to play some feelers in the recruiting grounds of Alabama, who's got some ballers, by the way, some ballers in Alabama. They get to do all of that. That's their benefit. But because they know they're going to get money no matter where they go. They're going to get money no matter where they go. So that is where the SWAC as a conference benefits. And when the conference benefits, all the other schools benefit. Not just Jackson State, not just Pine Bluff, not just Southern. All the schools benefit when the SWAC benefits, because then the SWAC can go to an ESPN or they can go to a Fox Sports or a CBS or whoever and say, hey, look, we just drew 50,000 in Birmingham. We're doing 50 a game, 55 a game or whatever in Jackson. We got Hugh Jackson, former NFL coach, that's doing this. We got Deion Sanders, coach of the year, that's doing this. He's getting this many impressions on social media. He's drawing 50, 55,000 a game at Jackson, Mississippi. And even when they travel outside of Jackson, they're doing 40 in Birmingham. They're doing 40 in Memphis or 50 in Memphis or another 40 in Miami. And that is how those TV deals, those numbers go up. So when you renegotiate with ESPN, they got to cut a bigger check. And when they cut a bigger check, the SWAC is able to distribute that money to all the different schools in the SWAC. And when all the different schools in the SWAC get paid, their facilities get better. The recruiting budgets go up. The better players come into the schools, and it benefits everyone. I hope I'm explaining that right. I hope you guys are understanding what I'm saying. That is why Jackson State and Coach Prime would agree to a 3-year deal in Birmingham at a SWAC Classic that they just made up. I hope, you know what I'm saying? I hope you guys are, can understand what I'm saying when I say that. So everything, yeah, like Ryder said, hotels, restaurants, shopping, recreation, all of that goes up when a superstar team comes into your city. All of that goes up. Jackson State, when this SWAC Classic takes place, they haven't released their schedule, but when the SWAC Classic takes place, it's not just Saturday. It's not just Saturday. They're going to have a week-long events. It's going to be events at least starting Thursday, but probably Wednesday. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then the game on Saturday. All kinds of stuff will be happening that whole week in Birmingham. Parades, dinners, award ceremony, banquets, all kinds of stuff will be happening. After parties, you know what I'm saying? Restaurant happy hours, all kinds of stuff. This is why you do this. This is why the SWAC creates these classics and puts Jackson State in all of them. It only makes sense. And you got to think they were doing that before Jackson State was who they were. This is before Travis Hunter. This is before going 11-1. This is before the SWAC championship. They brought back the Orange Blossom Classic after 50 years. Now it helped the FAMU came into the conference, but they brought it back. They sold it out. And now it was probably the best game of the SWAC year because it determined the SWAC champion at the end of the day. FAMU ran through the rest of the SWAC, and because of that second game of the year last year, it cost them a chance at the Celebration Bowl. So it's going to be bigger and better this year in Miami than last year. Because last year we were in a global pandemic, and the vid was still what it was. It's still around, but people are a little more lax. More people got their jabs, got their shots. You know what I'm saying? People are more cautious about what's taking place. So, all right, guys, I got to get out of here. But thank you all oh my goodness, so many comments. But leave your comments in the comment section. I will respond to all of them. You guys know I do that. I respond to all of them. YouTube is JeffLightsYJr. Hit the thumbs up button, guys, on your way out. Thank you guys for tuning in. Once again, my name is JeffLightsYJr with the Black Boss Channel, Victor Formation. Hit the thumbs up button on your way out, and I will see you guys next time. Peace.